So let's put the final touches on this positional breakdown conversation with the cornerbacks. Last season on the initial 53-man roster, the Browns went into the season with Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson, Cameron Mitchell, Miles Harden, and Khalif Halisi. I do expect it to be a very similar list this year. Headlined, of course, by the one and only Denzel Ward, 5'11", 190 pounds. He's 28 years old. This will be his 8th NFL season. Back in 2022, Denzel Ward signed a 5-year, $100.5 million contract extension with the Browns with an average annual salary of $20.1 million. He will be a $24.5 million cap hit this season. So, based on OTC, yes, we are in the part of his contract now where the Browns can start saving cap space by trading Denzel Ward. So those, just for the people who think that we need to blow up the whole thing and start trading everybody for future picks and things like that, I wanted to mention it that yes, the dead cap situation for Denzel Ward and all that, we're at the point in the contract where Browns could consider trading him and it would not be financially prohibitive to do so. But that being said, Denzel Ward is a guy who, if this season crashes horribly off the rails, could potentially start being floated in trade rumors and things like that. But we love Denzel Ward. We don't want to see him go anywhere else. Want him to be a Brown for life. He's that type of dude. Last year, he played in 16 to 17 games. So for everybody who says he's always injured and doesn't play full seasons, yes, he doesn't play full seasons. But then again, what NFL player really does, especially a full-time player? But last year, 16 out of 17 games, he had 49 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 fumble recovery, 1 forced fumble, and 19 pass breakups. He led the entire NFL last season with 19 pass breakups. That's awesome. The flip side for Denzel Ward, just 2 picks. So he's a guy who always seems to get his hands on the pass, but just cannot seem to come down with the ball. This is really nothing new. If you go back and look through his stat lines, his career high in the season is just 3 picks. So he's not a big interception guy, but he's had double-digit pass breakups every single season of his career. So he is, when they talk about lockdown corner, it really is, you throw the ball toward Denzel Ward, it's probably hitting turf. It's probably coming down on the ground. You're not running a high risk of him picking you off, but you're not running a very good opportunity to make a completed pass to your receiver either. And so that moves us into Greg Newsome II, 6 foot, 192 pounds, 25 years old. This will be his 5th season. He's playing on the 5th-year option in 2025 with a $13.4 million cap hit. And this is why he's been the speculation of every single trade rumor you hear, every trade proposal that comes out from every media outlet and all that kind of stuff this entire offseason. He's got no dead money. That's why, and he's on the final year of his contract. That's why he is in every trade speculation out there. The Browns stand to save that entire $13.4 million against the cap if they were to move him. Plus, like I mentioned, not under contract beyond this season. So the Browns do have a decision to make with Greg Newsome. If this season is not going well, it doesn't look like we're going to make the playoffs and all that kind of thing, this could be a trade deadline type of guy too. The Browns could look to try to find a younger asset, for future years with more time on their contract, or just draft picks for Greg Newsome if the opportunity comes up. Or they might extend him. I have no idea what they plan to do with Greg Newsome, but they do have decisions to make with Newsome, and the next guy we'll talk about, who is Martin Emerson. But sticking with Greg Newsome, 13 games last season, he had 27 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and 1 pick. He's only had 3 career interceptions over 4 seasons, so between Ward and Newsome, you're not getting many interceptions on defense. 27 tackles last year, that was the lowest total of his career in a single season. Now, Newsome played a lot in the slot last year. I've listened to a lot of people, a lot of, football guys and analysts talk about how Greg Newsome needs to get back out on the perimeter on the other side from Denzel Ward and get him out of the slot, get Martin Emerson back into the slot. Not sure why the Browns are using him so much in that position, but they seem to feel like he's being played out of position for what his skill set could be maximized for on the outside. So then Martin Emerson Jr., the next guy, 6'2", 201 pounds, 24 years old. This is the 4th and final year of his rookie deal. So like I said, the Browns need to make a decision likely during the season if they want to extend him. If he hits free agency after the season, another team could come strong after him if he gets back to himself in the way that he played in 2022 and 2023. 2024 was his down year. Just a $4 million cap hit this season. I don't think it's practical to think that the Browns could or would extend both Newsome and Emerson. Likely they're going to pick one of these guys to extend at some point this season. In 2024, Emerson played all 17 games. He had 80 tackles, which if you go back and you look at what the other two had, the other guys, and maybe this is why they're playing Emerson more in the slot because of his tackling ability. Denzel Ward was 49, Greg Newsome 27. Then you've got Martin Emerson with freaking 80 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. Again, while he had his best career season in the tackling department, it was his coverage that was the worst so far of his career. Just 5 pass breakups after he had 15 as a rookie and then 16 as a sophomore. I want you guys to remember what I said about Denzel Ward. He led the NFL last year with 19 pass breakups. Martin freaking Emerson came in, had 15 as a rookie, and then followed it up with 16. So there's a Pro Bowl cornerback there in Martin Emerson Jr. He just needs to get back to it here in 2025. Looking back at 23, he had 4 interceptions, 0 in 2024. The interception thing was bad across the board for the Browns in 2024. Cameron Mitchell, the next guy we'll talk about here, 5'11", 191 pounds, 23 years old, 3rd NFL season. He appeared in all 17 games last year after dealing with some injuries during his rookie season. He made 24 tackles, 1 TFL, and 2 pass breakups. Just a pretty good young rotational depth piece behind the top 3 guys here for the Browns. And then after him, Miles Harden, 5'11", 195, 23 years old. 2nd season, was a rookie last year. He appeared in 4 games and split pretty much 50-50 his time and his snaps between defense and special teams. And then the last guy I'll dive into with any bit of depth is Tony Brown the second, 6 foot, 200 pounds, 29 years old, 7th NFL season. He is on the vet minimum deal this year for the Browns. He was here last year, appeared in 6 games, but strictly on special teams only. He logged exactly 0 snaps on defense in 2024. Other names at the cornerback position to mention here, Lamarian James and Dom Jones are both UDFAs this season. Rookie guys to watch this training camp and preseason. You got Anthony Kendall and Chigozie Anuzium, who was, I believe, on the practice squad last year. So that's it. That wraps up everything for the Browns heading into training camp. The only things that I really didn't dive into were the special teams specialists. So you've got your punter Corey Bojorquez, who was like the best punter in the NFL. Led the Browns in yardage last year, I think, at some point. I mean, he had more punt yards than the offense had total yards. It was freaking embarrassing for the offense last year. And then you've got Dustin Hopkins. We'll see what we get out of him this year. Last year was like the worst kicker in the NFL after being one of the best the year before, got the extension and all that kind of stuff. We'll see if he gets back to himself this year. They have been cutting and re-signing Andre Schmidt, who is currently still back with the team after they made some moves last week. So there is another kicker, at least currently on the roster heading into training camp. And then I believe Rex Sunahara is the current long snapper on the roster after they parted ways with longtime Brown Charlie Hewlett this offseason. So that wraps it up. That's your roster right now looking into training camp. Go back, if you guys missed it, go back and check out the offensive episode. Obviously broke down quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, and the offensive line all on one long episode. I probably should have split that one up into 2. Defense here, go back, watch the defensive line. I went over all the edge rushers, the defensive end guys, and then also the interior players as well. And obviously now I just finished up with linebackers and your defensive backfield for the Browns in 2025. We'll see if they make any moves here over the next few weeks. Heading into training camp, do they trade for another wide receiver? Do they trade away one of their quarterbacks? We'll see what happens.